Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about this subject and this title mental health disorder, even though it's very common for a lot of people who kind of seeking for support. But I do see some people ask me some questions and ask me about what is the differences. And I'm also going to introduce one of unique, not really common mental health disorder, so you guys can kind of check it and find out what is the relationship. So the things about this today's YouTube can be a little complex. So I want you guys to kind of listen and be careful with what is going on with the differences between one mental illness to the other one. So this is actually a three-way mental health discussion. So we're gonna talk about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and also borderline personality disorder, BPD. But we're gonna add one thing is CPTSD. So it's people say chronic, but I think it should be complex post-stress personality disorder. So it's called CPTSD. Okay. So the relationships actually can be overlapped. Okay, overlap. So I want you guys to check on both sides. I'm gonna put in on the diagram, and you guys can check what is the overlap, what is the similarity, and what is not a similarity. So begin talking about CPTSD. So this is not brand new, but a rarely diagnosis for some of a mental health client. So let's begin to discuss the difference between the CPTSD and PTSD. So PTSD is if you know, a lot of people go through the nightmare, traumatic event. A lot of people are veteran. They're coming from the war and experiences traumatic event. But PTSD is always a single episode versus CPTSD is a multiple episode. So that give you guys a way to distinguish the two different things. And for the PTSD, we also realize is a hyper aroused and avoidant, but PTSD tend to be short-term traumatic event versus CPTSD is a chronic long-term traumatic event. For CPTSD, they are avoiding the relationship, but, for PTSD, they don't avoid in the relationship. Okay? And for the PTSD, you tend to have people who isolate they isolate at the place they don't want to interact with people. For CPTSD, it's a long-term chronic isolation. So hopefully that makes sense. So if you check on this diagram, you may get a better idea. CPTSD also have this long-term traumatic relationship between people to people, and they tend to be a little impulsive in terms of relationship. But PTSD is more about emotional dysregulation. So there's a little different. People who have PTSD also are hyper vigilant to the event, to the thing, to the people around it. But for CPTSD, this kind of hypervigilant is not really significant. Okay, it doesn't manifest to the client to have that kind of mental health disorder. Rather, they just have a very intensive relationship. Hope that makes sense to you guys. Now we're talking about a relationship. You can see the overlap between the CPTSD and the borderline personality disorder. Now we're talking about borderline personality disorder. Borderline BPD. So the BTB personality disorder also have a little overlap with CPTSD because they both have a share common of a relationship issue, the problem with relationship. But for PB, borderline personality disorder, the people who suffer from that, they also exhibit many, not just not hypervigilant, but sexually wise, they are pretty promiscuous. For women, they can take out their clothes in front of the man inside the car. They can do any type of extremely behavior to get attention. They cut themselves, they cut their waist. You know, you probably hear that they trying to, their rate of committing suicide also higher in person who suffer from the borderline, no, borderline personality disorder. So the overlap between the CPTSD and the BPD are share common with relationships. So they have upside down, really with violent relationship. They were not able to trust other, especially a patient with a borderline personality disorder. They always change partner because they cannot trust with their partner's behavior. So that's pretty much, hopefully this help you guys to distinguish between the PTSD to the CPTSD and the BPD. Okay, that's it for today's channel. If you have any question, feel free to drop the comment. And I check the YouTube often. If there's any message, I usually will check it. You can also send me the email at theotherformofk@gmail.com. I'll be able to answer all of your questions. Thank you so much, and I will see you again at the next video.